Hello, good morning. I am Dr. He Srinivasa. In this video, I am going to explain some concepts of nuclear decay, especially beta decay and types of beta decay, neutrino theory of beta decay. This nuclear decay is a chapter for 3rd BSc physics students studying in 6th sem in paper 8 nuclear and particle physics subject code SSF 611, and this is the video for session number 28. So dear students, you already know in the last video the nuclear decay and types of nuclear decay and also alpha decay and Gamow theory of alpha decay. In this video, I am going to explain what is beta decay, types of beta decay, and also neutrino theory of beta decay. So, types of radioactive decay, beta decay is the type of radioactive decay in which an atomic nucleus emits a beta particle. Beta decay is the process in which an atomic nucleus emits a beta particle. There are three types of beta decay. One is negative beta decay or beta minus decay, and the second one is positron decay or beta plus decay, and the third one is orbital electron capture or K capture. So beta decay occurs when a nucleus with too many protons or too many neutrons can be stopped by heavy clothing. Beta particles can be stopped by heavy clothing, sheets of metal, blocks of wood. We'll study first one, the negative beta decay or beta minus decay. Beta particles are high-speed electrons which are ejected from the nucleus of radioactive atoms. It occurs when a neutron in the nucleus splits to become a proton and an electron. That means beta decay is produced due to the conversion of the neutron into proton and an electron inside the nucleus. It is this electron emitted as beta particle from the radioactive nucleus. What happens when a neutron converted into proton? The proton remains in the nucleus and the electron, that is beta particle, is emitted at high speeds. A beta minus particle, that is represented by beta minus, is simply an electron that has been expelled from the nucleus due to conversion of neutron into proton. Beta minus decay results when a neutron decays into a proton and an electron, as I explained. So this beta particle emission takes place inside the radioactive nucleus due to the conversion of excess of number of neutrons into a proton and an electron. So proton remains inside the nucleus and an electron is ejected from the radioactive nucleus. It is this ejected electron is called beta particle. So beta particle is nothing but electron, and this beta decay is represented by ZXA gives rise to Z plus 1 YA plus minus 1 beta 0 plus energy. Here, whenever a radioactive nucleus undergo beta emission, its atomic number increases by 1 and mass number remains same because electron has a charge, negative charge. It is represented by minus 1, and also this charge is represented by atomic number, and since electron mass is very less, its mass number is 0. Therefore, Whenever a radioactive nucleus undergo beta decay, atomic number Z increases by 1 and its mass number remains the same. This is general equation, and the particular example is 90 thorium 234. So undergoes beta decay, becomes 91 protoactinium 234. Here atomic number of thorium, that is parent element, is 90, but atomic number of protoactinium is 91. Its atomic number increases by 1 and mass number remains same, and this minus 1 is the atomic number of the electron. It has negative charge, so minus 1 plus 91 becomes 90. In the nuclear reaction, atomic number and mass number are conserved. So beta minus decay results when a neutron decays into a proton and electron. So you know that atomic number increases by 1, mass number remains same, and it is represented by this equation. X is parent atom, Y is daughter atom, and the energy is carried away primarily by the kinetic energy of the electron. In the beta decay, there is a release of large amount of energy also. That energy is carried away primarily by the kinetic energy of the electron. A beta minus decay particle is simply electron that has been expelled from the nucleus. So this is beta particle with negative charge, minus 1.6 into 10 power minus 19 coulomb, having mass 0.00055 atomic mass unit, and moves with very high speed. Because of their high speed, their penetrating power is also large. What are the properties? As you know that it has a charge minus 1.6 into 10 power minus 19 coulomb, mass 0.00055 atomic mass unit. Beta particles are more penetrating than alpha particles. Since they are smaller particles, they have less collisions and so penetrate further. The fact that they have less collisions means that they cause less ionization. They are also deflected by electric and magnetic fields, that is, they are charged particles. Beta particles are more penetrating than alpha particles. Since they are small particles, they have less collisions and so penetrate farther. The fact that they have less collision means that they cause less ionization compared to beta particles. These are some properties of the beta particles. So as you know in detail in your lower classes also, they are deflected by electric and magnetic fields because they are charged particles. Next one, we are going to study the positron decay or beta plus decay. A beta positive particle, this is beta plus, is essentially an electron with positive charge. So beta particle is essentially an electron with a positive charge, that is called positron. Also positron is an antiparticle of the electron. The mass and speeds are similar to that of beta minus. Beta minus have minus charge, but positron has positive charge. So 1 plus 1.6 into 10 power minus 90 coulomb. And mass of this positron is same as the mass of the electron. That is why positron is also called antiparticle of the electron. They are also moving with high speeds, nearly with velocity of light. They are also very penetrating power. So to understand the emission of beta decay, we have to know about NZ graph, that is neutron proton or neutron atomic number graph, and also we can explain neutron to proton ratio from this graph. So this straight line represents the neutron proton ratio is equal to 1, and this graph is called stability graph, and this almost red color shows the positron. and negative color shows the emission of the beta particle, and this green color, yellow color shows the emission of the alpha particle. The nuclei having neutron proton number shows the alpha particle. See, this yellow color represents the elements which are emitting the alpha particle. See, the neutrons number are represented along the y-axis, and the atomic number, that is represented by protons. Protons are represented by the atomic number, were drawn on the x-axis. So here, this is the graph of neutron-proton ratio is equal to 1. As neutron-proton ratio goes on increases, in case of heavy elements, the elements, see here, 82, greater than 82 are all alpha emitters. And also beta emission takes place at higher as well as lighter or lower atomic number also. Lighter elements and heavy elements can also emit beta particle. But this alpha particle is emitted by only heavy nuclei. Why beta decay takes place? So, similar to the electrons possesses energy in atomic model explained by the Bohr's theory, nucleus also possesses nuclear energy levels like this. Why beta particle is emitted from the radioactive nucleus? You also know that radioactive nucleus are unstable. They emit the particles like alpha, beta and gamma, so comes to the stable state. So this is the example for boron, 5 boron 12. Number of protons is 5. 12 minus 5 gives the number of neutrons, that is 7. In the boron atom, number of neutrons are greater than the number of protons. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, these are the neutrons. And 5 protons, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, there are 5 protons. So E3, E4, etc. are the E1, E2, E3, E4. E1, E2, E3, E4 are energy levels of the nuclei. So in this case, this boron becomes carbon 12 by emitting the beta particle. So here number of neutrons is 7. Here number of neutrons is 6. In this boron atom, number of neutrons are greater compared to the number of carbon. So that is why this neutron decays to proton. Here Z is equal to 5, here Z is equal to 6. In this, number of neutrons are large. In this case, number of neutrons are less. So this excess neutron becomes converted into proton and acquires less, energy state, becomes stable. In the first diagram, so this is the energy level of the neutron. Neutron is in higher energy level. So it comes to the lower energy level of carbon. There is a vacancy. This vacancy is occupied by the, here you can see here, there is a vacancy. This vacancy is occupied by this proton, and neutron converted into proton by emitting the beta particle. So because all unstable nuclei tends to attain the stable configuration, they should present in the lesser energy. So lesser energy, nuclear energy, greater stability. Lesser energy, less nuclear energy is a greater stability. This neutron so occupies the vacancy in the carbon, converted into proton. So by emitting the beta particle. A beta positive particle is essentially an electron with positive charge. The mass and speeds are similar. So as I explained in the last slide. So beta particle have positive charge 1.6 into 10 power minus 90 coulomb, and mass of the positron is same as the mass of the beta particle. Beta plus decay results when a proton decays into a neutron and a positron. That means it takes place in a nuclei with more proton number compared to the neutrons number. In the beta minus decay, neutron is converted into proton by emitting the beta minus, nothing but electron. But in the positron decay, proton decays into a neutron and a positron. Thus, the atomic number decreases by 1 and mass number remains the same. So Zxa is the parent element. So gives rise to Z minus 1 Ya plus positron, that is beta plus decay, releases with energy. Here when proton has atomic number and mass number, is converted into neutron. So neutron has no atomic number, but it has a mass number. So mass number stays the same, but its atomic number decreases by 1 and plus 1 beta 0. So this particle has positive charge, so it is represented by plus 1, but its mass is negligibly small, therefore its mass number is 0. The example of positron decay is, so Zxa gives rise to Z minus 1 Ya plus 1 e to the power of 0. This is parent element, this is daughter element, and this is positron. So if you take another example, 5 boron 8 decays to some other product, that is daughter element with emission of the positron. What is this Y? Its mass number remains same. 8 is there, 8. But its atomic number should be decreases by 1. So 5 minus 1, 4. So 4 is the atomic number of beryllium. So this Y, daughter nucleus is 5 beryllium 8 plus 1 e to the power of 0 is positron. So 5 boron 8. In this, number of neutrons is 8 minus 5. Number of neutrons is mass number minus atomic number, that is 3. This is beryllium. 8 minus 4 is equal to 4. Number of neutrons is 4. So here number of protons is less. Here number of protons, boron is rich in proton number. So therefore a proton in the boron is converted into neutron in the beryllium. So becomes the number of here 8 minus 5 is 3 neutrons. Thus 3 neutrons is converted into 4 beryllium plus positron. The third one is orbital electron capture, or it is also called K capture. The process in which a proton-rich nuclide absorbs an inner atomic electron and simultaneously emits a neutrino is called electron capture or K capture. It is the opposite of beta emission, very important. A proton-rich nuclide absorbs an inner atomic electron and simultaneously emits a neutrino is called electron capture or K capture. It is the opposite of beta emission. In the beta emission, proton is converted into neutron by emitting the beta particle. Here the beta particle, nothing but electron, is absorbed by the proton and converts into neutron, atomic electron, and simultaneously emits a neutron. Is called electron capture. When the unstable nuclides have high atomic number, that is proton number values, the Coulomb barrier tends to prevent the emission of positron. There is an alternative way of transforming a proton into a neutron. Usually, electron in the K shell, which is closest to the nucleus, is captured. So the K shell is closest to the nucleus, as you know that. Therefore, the electron in the K shell, which is closest to the nucleus, that electron in the K shell is captured by the proton inside the nucleus and becomes neutron. Hence, the name K capture or electron capture. The capture of the electron by the proton turns into a neutron. It is given by the equation as there is a proton. This proton captures the electron in K shell, which is closest to the nucleus, and becomes neutron with the emission of neutrino. So, the process in which a proton-rich nuclide absorbs an inner atomic electron and converts into a neutron and simultaneously emits a neutrino is called electron capture or K capture, and it is represented by a proton captures an electron which is present in the K shell closest to the nucleus, converts this proton into neutron, and also with the emission of the neutrino. So using this diagram, you can easily understand the K capture or orbit electron capture. Here, this is carbon 11, consists of 6 protons and 5 neutrons. Carbon 11 consists of 6 protons, 6 and 5 neutrons, 6 carbon 12. Plus, it captures an electron, this is negative charge, and becomes boron 11, consists of 5 protons and 6 neutrons. So here it is a 5 neutrons. After it, 6 neutrons. Here 6 protons. One proton is converted into another neutron, and 6 minus 1 becomes 5 protons, and this conversion of 1 neutron is there, so 5 neutrons becomes 6 neutrons with the emission of neutrino or electron neutrino. Once again, this is the nucleus of the radioactive element. This is the K shell. Electrons are revolving in the K shell. So it absorbs or captures this electron. When it captures an electron, a vacancy is created here. This vacancy is occupied by the another electron, and that difference in energy comes out as an electromagnetic radiation or gamma photon or neutrino. So nucleus capture an electron in the K shell which is nearest to the nucleus. Therefore, it is called orbital electron capture or K capture, and this unstable nucleus becomes stable by converting one proton into another neutron, which is take place in the proton-rich nuclides. The daughter nucleus is seen to be the same as that which would have been produced if the positrons had been emitted. There is no question of any electron coming out from this process. The vacancy in the K shell of the daughter nuclide resulting from K capture is filled by the rearrangement of the Z-1 electrons in it. This leads to the emission of the characteristic X-rays of the daughter element. So, due to the rearrangement of the electrons, that means there is a vacancy created here. An electron jumps to this place by it emitting the characteristic X-rays in the form of energy. So, when this electron comes to this vacancy, again a vacancy is created here. To again the electron in the higher energy orbit comes to the lower energy orbit, and filling this vacancy, another X-ray is produced. The difference in energy comes out as electromagnetic radiation in the form of characteristic X-rays in the orbital electron capture or K capture. This leads to the emission of the characteristic X-rays of the daughter element in both beta activity and in K capture process, the parent and daughter nucleides form a pair of isobars. That means mass number remains same. Carbon 11, boron 11. So these three diagram represents the emission of beta particle, beta minus, beta plus, and also electron K capture. This is carbon 14, undergo negative beta decay, becomes nitrogen with the emission of antineutrino and the electron, that is beta minus particle. This equation shows the law of conservation of energy. Also, linear momentum also. This is carbon 10 becomes boron 10 by emission of the positron decay becomes neutrino. Here antineutrino is there, is neutrino, it is a positron or beta plus. Carbon 10 becomes boron 10 by the electron capture. So, and also you can see how this neutron is converted into a proton. 8 neutrons and 6 protons are there. One neutron is converted into proton. So there are 7 protons, 7 neutrons. Here 6 protons, proton rich radioactive nucleus. So this proton, 1 proton converted into neutron. 5 protons and 5 neutrons. Here 6 protons are there, proton rich nuclide absorbs an electron and becomes a neutron. So the last one is gamma decay. The emission of alpha or beta from a radioactive nucleus of an atom is sometimes followed by the emission of energy radiations like gamma rays. These are like visible light or X-rays or electromagnetic waves of shorter wavelength or high frequency. We know that after the emission of alpha or beta particle leaves the daughter nucleus is in excited state. The daughter nucleus comes to ground state by emitting the difference in energy as gamma radiation. After the emission of alpha or beta particle, the daughter nucleus is in excited state and this daughter nucleus comes to the ground state by emitting the difference in energy as gamma radiation. Stable nucleides are usually in the state of least energy or ground state. Stable nucleides are usually in the state of least energy or ground state. But they can be excited by particle or photon bombardment. Hence, nuclei can exist in the state of definite energy state as atoms can. Similar to atoms in excited state, nucleus can also be excited by supplying the energy in the form of particle or photon bombardment. An excited nucleus is denoted by an asterisk like this symbol. So, and it is represented by the equation. One way an excited nucleus can return to the ground state is given by the emission of gamma rays. Gamma ray decays is represented by the schematically by ZXA star or asterisk gives rise to ZXA plus gamma. That means nucleus in excited state comes to ground state by emitting the gamma radiation. That is, when a stable nucleus is bombarded with any ionizing particle or bombarding particle or photon, it goes to the excited state. The daughter nucleus comes to the lowest energy state or ground state by emitting the gamma rays. When they are emitted from the nucleus structure stays the same. It simply represents a loss of energy. Emission of gamma radiation simply represents the loss of energy. There is no change in the structure of the nucleus. Both atomic number and mass number of the parent and daughter nucleus remain same in the gamma decay process. The number of protons and neutrons in the nucleus does not change in this process. So the parent and daughter atoms are the same chemical element. ZXA, ZXA. A star indicates that this nucleus is in excited state and it comes to ground state by emitting the gamma radiation. In the gamma decay of the nucleus, the emitted photon and recoil nucleus each have a well-defined energy after the decay. The characteristic energy is divided between only two particles. Violation of conservation of loss in beta decay. So as I explained, the beta decay process, there is a violation of the law of conservation of energy, linear momentum, and also spin and spin angular momentum. In beta decay process, there is a violation of three important laws. One is violation of conservation of energy. Second one is violation of conservation of linear momentum. And the third one is violation of conservation of spin and spin angular momentum. So, how violation of conservation of spin and angular linear momentum and other conservation laws takes place? We will see. We know that the neutron has a larger mass than the proton, slightly larger mass than the proton, and is thus unstable. Neutron is more unstable than the proton with respect to the combination of proton and an electron. A free neutron will undergo beta decay with a half-life of approximately 10 minutes. We might expect to write the decay equation as the neutron is converted into proton and an electron, that is beta minus decay with the release of energy. So in this reaction, whether the spin and spin angular momentum is conserved or not, we will see. Here both protons and neutrons and also are fermions. They obey, the electron is also fermion, obey Fermi-Dirac characteristics and having spin off. Proton is also spin off particle. Proton has also spin off. Electron is also has spin off. So here in the right side of the equation, spin of the proton and electron half plus half becomes 1. If spin is minus half minus of 0. So the total spin of this proton and then electron may be 0 or 1. That is, this represents integral. This represents half integral. All the three particles in this equation are fermions with the intrinsic spin S is equal to half h by 2 pi. Therefore, we cannot balance angular momentum in the reaction as written here. Half minus half 0 or half plus of 1. So we cannot balance this spin and spin angular momentum. The spins of the proton and the electron can be coupled to 0 or 1 h cross. Half minus half becomes 0, half plus half becomes 1 h cross, and can also have relative angular momenta with any integral value from the emission process, 0 or 1 integral values. This simple spin algebra will never yield the half integral value of the left hand side of the equation, that is proton. Another fermion must be present among the products. Therefore, the products should contain another fermion which having spin off. Then only the spin of the reaction on the left hand side and right hand side becomes equal. Half plus half and plus half becomes half integral spin. So in addition to these two particles, in the right side another particle, fermion having spin off should be present to balance this equation and to explain the law of conservation of spin and spin angular momentum. Another feature of beta decay that was puzzling at first but really pointed to the incompleteness of the previous equation is that the beta particles have a continuous energy distribution. So in this slide I will going to explain violation of conservation of energy in the beta decay process. So we know that beta rays have continuous energy distribution. That is, electrons are emitted from the source with a distribution of energies that extends from a maximum at the Q value down to 0. Recall that if there are only two products from a reaction, then they will precisely share the decay energy according to conservation of momentum. We have clearly seen such sharp energy spectra in alpha decay. So this can be seen in the alpha decay, but this beta decay have continuous energy distribution. How this continuous energy distribution in the beta spectrum takes place cannot explained by that previous equation. Hence there is a violation of law of conservation of energy. Violation of conservation of linear momentum. Quite dramatic pictures of the tracks of charged particles from beta decay show events in which the particles move in one direction is clear violation of the conservation of linear momentum. So what happens? When beta particle is emitted, they move in the same direction. From beta decay show events in which the particles move in one direction is clear violation of the conservation of linear momentum. What happens when the beta particles are emitted from the radioactive nucleus? The daughter nucleus will be recoiled back and the beta particle move in the opposite direction. But in this case, both are moving in the same direction. It indicates that there is a clear violation of the linear momentum. The way out of this mounting paradox with violations of very strongly held conservation laws is to introduce another conservation law and recognize that another unseen particle must be created and emitted with the beta particle. What is that particle? We will see in the next slide. Pauli's hypothesis. The law of conservation of energy and momentum, which are not explained in the beta decay, can be explained by the neutrino theory of beta decay proposed by Pauli. In 1930, Pauli proposed that if an uncharged particle of negligible mass and spin-off is emitted in the beta decay together with an electron, and the energy, angular momentum and linear momentum could be conserved. If the third particle called neutrino emitted along with the beta particle, then only there is a explanation of violation of law of conservation of energy, angular momentum and linear momentum. Later, Fermi called this particle as neutrino. The new third particle which is emitted along with the particle is called neutrino, and Fermi called this third particle as neutrino. Neutrino travels with velocity of light. Its interaction with matter is very weak. Subsequently, it was found that two kinds of neutrinos are involved in the beta decay, the neutrino and the antineutrino. So, not only a single neutrino, two neutrinos are there. One is neutrino and the antineutrino are emitted along with the beta particle and the positron decay. Next, neutrino theory of beta decay and beta spectrum. The law of conservation of energy and momentum, which are not explained in the beta decay, can be explained by the neutrino theory of beta decay. According to neutrino theory, developed by Fermi in 1934, in the process of beta decay, another neutral particle means it has no charge, and of negligible mass, zero charge and spin off is emitted along with the beta particle. These are the characteristics of the neutrino. Neutral particle, charges, negligible mass, zero charge, don't have charge but have spin off is emitted along with the beta particle. This particle carries a part of available energy and momentum and is called neutrino. Beta radiations are electrons which are emitted in the decay process with a certain kinetic energy which originates from the energy difference between the decaying nucleus, that is mother or parent nucleus, and the decay product, that is daughter nucleus. As part of the energy is distributed to a third particle, that is neutrino, the beta spectrum of a particular decay process is a smooth distribution. So here the energy, total energy, as a part of the energy is distributed to a third particle, neutrino. The beta spectrum of the particular decay process is a smooth distribution and it is a smooth curve is explained by Fermi. In each beta disintegration, the amount of energy released is equal to the endpoint energy or maximum energy as shown in the figure. So if we draw a graph of relative number of electrons, that is beta particles, versus kinetic energy. So in each disintegration, the amount of energy released is equal to this endpoint energy or maximum energy. The energy is shared between the beta particle and neutrino. At any point, if you consider, the energy is a continuous one because this energy is shared between the beta particle and also neutrino. The energy carried by neutrino is not fixed and it varies continuously, varying energy to the beta particle and hence the continuous spectrum. So this is important point. The energy carried by the neutrino is not fixed and it varies continuously, varying energy to the beta particle and hence the continuous spectrum. This continuous spectrum is explained by the presence of the third particle, that is neutrino, and also it is assumed that energy carried by the neutrino is not fixed. In the lower limit of continuous spectrum, greater amount of energy is shared by the neutrino than the beta particle. Energy increases here. This is the lower energy. In this lower limit continuous spectrum, greater amount of energy is shared by the neutrino and less amount of energy is shared by the beta particle. So in the lower limit of continuous spectrum, greater amount of energy is shared by the neutrino than the beta particle. The electron will carry maximum energy when the energy carried by the neutrino is 0. So here the energy carried by the beta particle or electron is maximum when the electron carried by the neutrino is 0. Here in this case, beta particle has maximum energy in this point, then at this point energy carried by the neutrino is 0. Thus, the neutrino theory of beta decay successfully explains the continuous energy spectrum of the beta particles. In ordinary beta decay, that is beta minus decay, it is an anti-neutrino that is emitted along with the beta particle. Then the equation is represented by a neutron is converted into proton with the emission of the beta particle and also the third particle is anti-neutrino. Then only we can explain the all conservation laws due to the presence of this third new particle called antineutrino. Positron emission corresponds to the conversion of nuclear proton into a neutron, positron and a neutrino. Conversion of nuclear proton into neutron, positron and a neutrino. In this case, neutron is converted into proton by emitting the beta minus particle, that is electron, along with antineutrino. So ordinary beta decay. In the positron beta decay, a proton is converted into neutron and a positron with the emission of neutrino also. So again the continuous spectrum of the beta decay can be explained like this. Suppose at this point, if you consider this is the energy shared by the electron and the remaining amount of energy shared by the neutrino. A beta spectrum showing a typical division of energy between electron and a neutrino, intensity of arbitrary units. These are the books I have used as reference to make this video. Thank you for watching. Thank you once again.